Hi, my name is Ari, and today I will be talking about social psychology. So, first, to start off, what is it? Social psychology is the scientific study of how we think about, influence, and relate to others. So, a couple of examples of influences would be family, friends, ethnicity or culture, and religion. So, specifically today, I'll be focusing on culture and how that affects how we interact with others, relationships we build, and how we perceive ourselves. So, first, culture basically means enduring behaviors that have been passed down from generation. So, for me, I think it's really easy to talk about this topic because I come from a very cultural, ethnic Greek family. So, there have been a lot of values and traditions that have been passed down. But along with that comes a lot of social norms, things that are expected of me, and that can get tough. So, first, I want to talk about normal social influence. So, that is influence resulting from the need for others' approval. So, again, for me, I guess the norm would be to get married at a young age to a Greek boy, learn how to cook Greek foods, probably stay home and mostly take care of the kids, and to carry out the traditions that have been passed down. And I definitely feel normal social influence because, of course, I'm always looking for my family's approval, and I don't want to be the one to cut all the traditions because I know I would never hear the end of it. So, those are examples of some normal social influence. So, is anyone familiar with the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding? If you're not, it's basically about, it's so accurate. It's about this woman who has spent years, I guess, conforming to her Greek family's expectations and norms and all of that. And then she finally, at the age of 30, breaks free, I guess you could say, and starts or falls in love with an American boy. So here is a video clip that kind of accurately depicts some expectations or norms and the pressures of normal social influence.
Didn't I say it's a mistake to educate women? But nobody listened to me. Now we have a boyfriend in the house. Is he nice Greek boy? Oh, no Greek. No Greek, Xeno. Xeno with the...
After watching that short clip, I just want to quickly point out that the father definitely was very harsh on his daughter, and culturally, that is definitely what is expected, and that is a norm for a father to act that way, especially if they have been immigrated from Greece, where things are definitely even more different than Greek Americans. But in different cultures, there's obviously different levels of behavior and aggression and different kinds of attitudes. So I know I said previously that the movie is very accurate, which is it's still true. I definitely have a lot of family members who act the same way he does, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they are, bad people. It's just they just act differently. They just are a little bit more passionate in the things they say, and again have a little bit more aggression. So again, after watching that clip, I would like everyone to think about what they saw and then how they can apply it to the next couple of things I would like to talk about. So first, I want to discuss the difference between input and output groups. So an input group is a group of people who have the shared common interests, shared identity, same values. And then the output group would be the people who are apart from the rest and kind of disagree. So being so close, so being in one group and then being close to another is very hard to navigate because it paves the way for lots of conflict. And in social psychology, I guess conflict could be defined as issues relating to values or traditions and just opinions. So yeah, in the clip, you could see that Tula, being in the output group, is definitely clashing with her family who is in the input group, and I could definitely relate to that too. So next I wanted to talk a little bit about normative social pressure. So this is conforming in order to be accepted. So it's different from normal social influence because normal social influence is just influence, whereas normative social pressure is actually conforming and changing. So an example of that in the Greek culture, I guess, would be sending your kids to Greek school even though usually it is spoken in the house. Like, I know my family, Greek was my first language, but still, like, because it was expected and everybody else sent their kids to Greek school, my mom was like, oh yeah, like, I'll send her to Greek school too, even though she really doesn't need it. So it's kind of things like that, or dating Greek men. You know, everybody else is doing it and it's expected of you to be doing it, so you do it. And then also I wanted to talk about peripheral root persuasion. So in the clip I showed you, I mentioned that her dad was very passionate and kind of aggressive, and he said a little bit of crazy things. So peripheral root persuasion is purposely trying to get others' attention by like triggering emotions and by being kind of passionate in order to get their way. So I know an example for me is my great grandmother. Every time I see her, she's like, Yaya, which is Greek for grandmother. She'd be like, Yaya's gonna die soon. Like, you need a Greek boy quick. So by saying like, I'm gonna die soon, she's kind of triggering my emotions and trying to persuade me in that way. Lastly, I wanted to just talk about de-individuation and compliance. So compliance is changing behavior due to request of another person. So an example of that would be, as I could say, my last example, my grandmother would tell me, you need to marry a Greek boy. So compliance would be me making that my sole purpose in life, to do that, and to listen to her. It's kind of the same as obedience. And then de-individuation is losing self-awareness and self-restraint when you're in a crowd. So although de-individuation is a little bit of a stretch from Greek culture, because it's not like we're rioting and doing crazy things when we're all together, but I think just mentally, like, the way they think and perceive certain things, I think when they're together it can kind of get out of hand, and they can forget, like, oh, these kids are different than we are. They're growing up in usually a different location, because most Greek people in the States have probably immigrated, or their parents have. So I think it's hard for them to realize that we are a little bit different, like the younger generation, and that we shouldn't have that much pressure to fit their needs and listen to everything they said. So that's all I have today. Thank you.